Hello and welcome to another teaching from 119 Ministries. Our ministry believes that the whole Bible is true and directly applicable to our lives today. If you would like to know more about what we believe and teach, please visit us at testeverything.net. We hope you enjoy studying and testing the following teaching. WWJD. It's a nice little catchphrase that's been around for several decades. WWJD. What would Jesus do? It's a little question that is intended to get us to think about and follow our Messiah's example. But how did he live? How did he respond? What was the basis for all of his actions and reactions? So the question of WWJD is best answered by asking WDJD, that being, what did Jesus do? Is there anything that can answer this question for us? Do we know what he did? Yes, we do. He followed the law. He obeyed the law. He gave us the perfect example of how we are to live out our lives, just as John said. 1 John chapter 2, verse 6, whoever says he abides in him ought to walk in the same way in which he walked. Some try to say, wait a minute, Jesus broke the law in several instances, like the time when he refrained from stoning the woman caught in adultery. But what a lot of people don't realize is that he was actually obeying the law in that circumstance. Let's read one verse from that account in John chapter 8, verse 6. This they said to test him, that they might have some charge to bring against him. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. Many miss the point of verse 6. Oh, everyone remembers the part of him bending down and writing in the dirt, but it seems that many forget the first part of that verse. John chapter 8, verse 6. This they said to test him, that they might have some charge to bring against him. It must be understood that the law requires both of the individuals who commit adultery to be stoned, not just the female. They were testing him. They were attempting to trick Yeshua into having the female stoned. In reality, the man was needed for this to be done as well. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 10. If a man commits adultery with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Not only was Jesus not falling for their trap, he turned it back on them by telling them to cast the first stone. How is this turning it back on them, you might ask? Deuteronomy chapter 17, verses 6 through 7. On the evidence of 2 witnesses or of 3 witnesses, the one who is to die shall be put to death. A person shall not be put to death on the evidence of 1 witness. The hand of the witnesses shall be first against him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of all the people. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. Where were the 2 to 3 witnesses? These people were to be the first to cast the stones. If they were there, they knew they would have to have the man there to stone as well. Otherwise, it would be them sinning and not Jesus. Remember, they were trying to trap him. They wanted him to break the law so that they could have a reason to accuse him. Yet he stayed faithful to the Word of God. So again, what did Jesus do? It was Jesus' custom to keep the Sabbath. He kept Passover. He observed the feast of Sukkot. He wore tzitzit. So what did Jesus do? He kept the law, the Torah, as our example, and thus, so should we. Just a thought.
It is because of you, our generous supporters, who make it possible to offer these high-quality teachings completely free of charge. If you feel led to support 119 Ministries so that we can continue this effort, please visit testeverything.net and click on the Support 119 tab. Learn how you can partner with us to take the whole Word of God to the nations.